This episode of the podcast is brought to you by From Within Records, bringing it back one last time. One Teen Unity 3 out this summer, and I'm so excited that the announcement was made. For everyone who has shared the post and spread the word, thank you. For anyone who's not familiar, the third installation of this comp is going to be featuring bands Not One Truth, Hellbound, Never Again, one of my personal favorite bands, shout out New Jersey, C4, Chemical Fix, Search for Purpose, Stiff Meds, Fool's Game, Buried Alive, Live It Down, Gridiron, Adrienne, Broken Vow, Nothing But Enemies, Submit, Killing Me, and there's two bands that were left off the flyer by mistake. It will be updated: Contention and Wreckage. Shout out Wreckage, an amazing band from Connecticut. But it should be available late summer 2022, and I'm looking forward to this. The comp has been an awesome thing for me to look forward to. I love the first and second one. So many amazing bands, so many amazing tracks. I'm so happy that From Within's bringing it back, and I hope all of you are excited just like me. For anyone who's not following From Within Records on social media, please go boot up your Twitter, your Instagram, click that follow button to stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. If you're looking for high quality merch for your band, for your business, for your podcast, for whatever, hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. They do awesome stuff. They have printed all my collab shirts, the ones from FYA, the one from the showcase, and everything I do going forward will be done by Good Fortune Printing because I love working with them and I love the quality that they produce. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing, or you can email them at contact@goodfortuneprinting.com and support them because they're doing awesome stuff. On today's episode, we had to track down Alfredo, sings for a band called Adrienne, and I've been following that band, just seeing people posting their live sets on YouTube and just people talking about them on social media in general, and I was always curious, so I paid attention, been listening to the music, and I've been wanting to have somebody from the band on, so I was happy that Alfredo was down to come on the podcast to speak about the band, and I was very pleased. I'm a bigger fan of the band now after speaking to Alfredo. And for anyone who's not familiar, please click pause, go boot up your Spotify, Apple Music Tidal, Bandcamp, and search up Adrienne. Go listen to their EP, which is self-titled. It's fucking awesome for people who love that metalcore style. They do it right. And it was super awesome. And I hope more people get into them after listening to this if they're not already paying attention. But I think that band is doing awesome stuff and they have a lot of potential. So please strap in, enjoy this conversation. Without further ado, welcome Alfredo to the show. All right. And we're live. Welcome to the podcast, Alfredo. How's it going?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is awesome. I'm stoked to have you here. I'm a huge fan of your band, and I'm just really stoked to finally be able to sit down and talk to you and have you on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me, dude. This is sick.
So for people who may not be familiar with who you are, can you just give a quick breakdown of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Alfredo from Massachusetts. I sing in the band Adrienne, metalcore, hardcore, whatever you really want to call it, band from out here. And yeah, just scene goer, mosher, band enjoyer, pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel like those are all the proper elements to to support the scene the correct way. I'm just curious, did you grow up out in that area?
Yeah. I grew up in Mass. I grew up in fucking Brockton, born and raised. Lived here my whole life. Never been anywhere else. It's just been here.
Shout out Death Before Dishonor.
Shout out DVD.
Awesome band. Okay. So for you being out there, and I feel like the scene out there is legendary. I've been in my early days, I was like super fascinated by what was going on, and to this day, still so many awesome bands, especially like the one of the like the band that you're playing in. But for you growing up over there, how did you discover hardcore?
So I started going to shows around 2017.
Okay.
I was like kind of like late getting into shows. I've always like been into hardcore because like, you know, found out a band about like Madball and like a lot of like the New York bands, like Madball, Life of Agony, like all that shit. I've known about bands like that for like years, and I've known about local shows going on here for years. I just never really went out to any until like 2017. And I think one of the earlier shows I went to around here was a lot of like the local, like down tempo kind of bands. It was like Regime and like The Graying, which is a really cool band from here. And I just started going to shows then, and I didn't know anybody. And it just grew from there. I just kept going. I stuck around as much as I could.
And why did it take you so long to get out to shows, even though you knew about the music?
I don't know. I just didn't go to shows like at all. Like I was like just in high school, and I just didn't go to shows. Like I always got offered to. My friends would be like, "Yo, you should come out to this show," and I'm like, "Yeah, man, maybe." And then I just never did. And then I went for the first time, and it was Raps.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a really important aspect of everything. And like obviously listening to music is awesome, but getting to experience it live just takes it to like a whole nother level.
Yeah, most definitely.
And when you went to that first show, did you feel like you'd been missing out? And was it like, all right, full throttle, we got to, you know, keep coming back?
Dude, it was so sick. It was so absolutely sick the first show I went to. I was like, yeah, this is dope. I was like, I really have been missing out. And it was like, it was just dope to see, you know, music like that and to see people caring about the music they make and like all of it. It was just sick. Like that, from that on, it just cemented that like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm going to be fucking doing all the time.
And for me growing up, it wasn't common to see anybody in the local area that knew about hardcore. It was like still underground at that point. For you being in high school, did you have like a solid group of friends or a solid group of people that went to your high school that knew about that type of music, or was it like pretty underground for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the friends I had knew about hardcore, and a lot of them were either friends with people in bands or just like knew about it. And I was lucky to go to a really diverse high school, so discovering all those bands was like not like the hardest thing in the world, and getting recommended shows wasn't difficult or anything, which was pretty dope.
And did you, growing up here, did you know that it was like a legendary scene? Like, you know, it was like, you know, rich with, you know, awesome history?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the first bands I ever heard was Converge, and they're still one of my favorite bands. And I was like, damn, this band's like insane. And that made me dive deeper into Boston hardcore and Massachusetts as a whole. And it's just like, I knew about it. I definitely knew about the history behind it. That's why I was like, I need to go to Boston shows immediately.
Yeah, that's super sick. I'm always curious. I live out here in California, so this is like all I know, right? The scene out here, going to shows in LA, Orange County, Inland Empire, San Diego, that's like normal for me, but I'm just always curious like what it's like, you know, being in like another legendary scene like Boston, or even thinking about what it would be like in like New York back in the day. So I think it's cool that you're, you know, growing up in that, you know, legendary scene and being able to experience those types of bands and even being able to contribute to that history with your band, Adrienne.
That's so sick. That's so sick.
And for you and Adrienne, how did the idea to start this band come about?
So everyone in the band was in a band before this one called Divided Life from here. And Divided Life's not a band anymore. And their guitar player, Pat, we've like talked a little bit at shows. Like we've talked about like 8,000 bands and like Elegy from Florida and like a bunch of like, you know, just cool bands that we liked. But we never really talked like a lot. And then one day he sent me a DM on Instagram and he was like, hey, do you want to be in a band with me and the Divided Life guys? And I was like, yeah, why not? And then that's literally just how the band started, was just one Instagram DM from him.
And did you ever even want to do bands? I feel like for people who get into hardcore, there's like different paths that they can take, right? Become a show promoter, you know, create a zine, or just, you know, listen to music, participate, show up to shows. But for you, was that something you aspired to do, or did it just, you know, happen to, you know, be in this lucky situation and get that DM?
I definitely wanted to do a band. I just didn't know like the resources and knew how to really even get started with all of that. So it was pretty dope that he reached out because that just like jump started everything. Like I wanted to do a band for years, so it was cool that I got the opportunity to do that.
Okay, so can you break it down? You get that DM, and then when's the next milestone for starting this band? Did you guys link up for band practice, or did you just start writing lyrics right away?
Yeah, we started having practice. I think he DM'd me in like the middle of the week, and then that next Monday we had practice, and we just had practice every Monday since that. It was pretty much just like I think like the first stuff was literally just like gibberish because they would just give me a mic to use and I would just do gibberish just to figure out vocal patterns and to like figure out what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. Like we just went right into practice, no anything, just straight in.
And had done anything like this before? Have you had any experience being in front of people or writing songs?
I've never really like written songs, but I was in choir for 8 years, 4 years of high school, 4 years in like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like a choir background, so I was pretty used to like just like kind of learning it as it goes and learning how stuff fits in the music and stuff like that.
Okay. And so you're off to the races with these band practice. How long did it take until you guys actually recorded the demo or the EP? What do you guys call it?
We just called an EP.
Mm-hmm.
Just called an EP. It took us a year to write it, if I remember right, because we recorded it in July of last year. We recorded it in July of last year. We became a band the year before that, so like roughly a year it took to write it.
Okay. And obviously, when you guys became a band, strange times in the world, the whole scene's up in the air. Not sure, what's going to happen, and if anything is ever going to happen. Did you even care about that, or were you guys just so focused on getting this project off the ground?
We were most so focused about getting the project off the ground because they really were dedicated to getting new stuff out, and they really wanted to have a project that was just like fully immersed and fully like everyone's 100% into it. So we were just tunnel vision into it.
Mm-hmm. Man, no, I think that's a smart move because obviously different bands took different approaches to how they went about that whole situation. But for you guys to stay focused and just be ready to come out, full force. Because I see the videos and I hear people, the way they speak about Adrienne, and to me, it's awesome to see like a new band get such like amazing support. And I think that goes a long way, right? Because sometimes a new band will pop up. People think they're too cool to support them, or kind of look at them as like, oh, they haven't really earned their keep yet. Like we'll just kind of wait till it's cool to like them to publicly show support. But when I look at your band and watch these live sets of you guys, and just like I said, hear the way that people talk about you, I think it's awesome that like it seems like your fan base and the people that actually like your band, they're not afraid to show it and to put it out there.
Yeah, it's the dopest thing. People have been like supporting us full heartedly and full completely, and it's so dope to see. Like, because you don't see that a lot of times with bands, just off rip, like first thing, and then all of a sudden it's like craziness. It's like having everyone really support us full heartedly. Just it feels great, especially with a scene that I've just been like putting myself into wholeheartedly. It's like you give what you get back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's awesome too because sometimes you'll run into a situation where people will look at like your success and kind of get like jaded or be like like why didn't I get that, or why can't that be me, and not want to give you that support because they're low key haters, or they want to see you fail. But when I see the support for a newer band that hasn't been around that long, right? The record came out October 2021. Here we are still, pretty, early into 2022. So I think it's just awesome to see that you guys get that kind of support. And in my opinion, I think you guys deserve it because from the music that you've put out, I really enjoy it. And I try to tell people about your band and, check people's temperature to see if they're even aware.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I'm stoked people like it a lot. We were like really shocked that the EP did so well. And like the first show was like that much of a reaction. So I really appreciate like everybody supporting us and everybody sharing it and everybody just showing love to us. It's really dope to see.
Yeah, and it's I don't think you can really gauge people's like reactions until you really get out there and play those shows. So for it to pop off at the first show like that, I was like, okay, this is something special. And for anybody who's listening who hasn't seen that video on YouTube, you can go watch your guys' first set, and it's super awesome. But the YouTube channel is what, Montana Media.
Shout out Matt.
And who is that? Can you speak about who Matt is? Because
that is Matt LaRoche. He was the vocalist for this band Marblemouth, who I used to see back in like 2017, 2018. And Matt's one of my close friends, and he's recorded us every time he's seen us, which is really dope. But that's the shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important to document stuff like that because, like, obviously, shout out to Hate 56, 197. People like Todd Pollock, Ive the Storm, Carl Gunhouse. Like, it's really important to document that kind of stuff. So for Matt to have been there at the first show and just capture that moment, because you can't recreate that. You can't play your first show again, right? So for him to have been there and to be able to save that moment in time, I think it's awesome. Because especially for someone like me who is kind of late to the boat, right? Just based off the music had been out, and my friends are telling me about your band, so it's fun for me to be able to just kind of go back and watch that like moment in time.
Oh yeah.
And when the record came out, how did you feel? Because obviously this is something you guys have been working really hard at. Were there any moments that like surprised you, like with the record?
It was just kind of unreal. It was like kind of unbelievable in a sense, just because like I think that day me, Pat, and our drummer went to go see Portrayal of Guilt like the day before it was supposed to come out, and we're just sitting in the parking lot near the Middle East, and like 12 comes around, EP's out on everything. It's out on Spotify, it's out on Bandcamp, and it was just like it's kind of surreal to see that your EP that you've worked so hard towards is like finally on everything, and you're just staring at it, like the track list, the cover art, and everything. It's really surreal. It's really like, it was like kind of a weird feeling, but it was like the dopest feeling in the world to see that all the work that we put into it became something that we like put out into the world.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm trying to imagine like what it would be like, right? Because like, like I do a podcast, people listen to it, that's cool. But for you to, I do this weekly, but for you to have been working so hard, for that whole year, especially in those dark times, to finally see it come out, I'm, like really happy for you guys, because not every band, survived the pandemic, and it just made things like really weird for the whole world.
Yeah, the pandemic definitely made a lot of shit just definitely weird. It was definitely a weird point in period, because it was just like there was no shows happening. There was no like the scene was around, but the scene wasn't around. You know what I mean? Like it was just like in person. It just wasn't there anymore because of COVID, and that kind of fucked everything up. But everything coming back now is really sick though, which I'm really stoked about, because like the first show back from COVID, and like when that happened, it was just like it's like the same scene that's always been there came back again, even though it was like gone for like a year.
Yeah, I feel like out here, like that high hasn't gone away. It still seems like kids are really excited to come out to shows, and they're not like kind of using it as like a plan B for something to do that night. It seems like there's like a real want to actually go out and show up early and support these bands, local and from out of town.
Yeah, it's dope. A lot of new kids have been popping up, and it's really dope to see them come out too, which it's pretty dope. It's like, it reminds me of the scene starting like a couple years ago in like smaller venues, just having like local kids come out, and seeing kids now coming out to like bigger shows. It's dope. It's really dope.
100%. I always preach on here how those new and younger kids are really important to the scene. Like as whack as people may think that they are, just because they haven't been around as long, it's like, yeah, you got to kind of change your view on that, because I always say that they're the future. They're going to be the people that keep the shit alive, because so many bands come and go. We like the need for new and young kids to come around is really important.
Yeah, I agree. People try to be too cool for new kids, which I try not to do. I try to make sure kids can come to shows and feel like they belong at shows.
100%.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, like, I've been around for a minute, but if it weren't for the people before me to kind of guide me and show me cool shit, like who knows where I would be. I'd probably be, we got jaded like and left by now. But the fact that they showed me that, like, they looked at me as their equal, just, someone who loved the type of music, the subculture just as much as them. They wanted me to be a part of it. So I always try my best to never be like that. Never try to, make anybody feel like they don't belong if they're new.
Agreed.
So can you speak about your inspiration for lyrics for the band?
So a lot of the inspo from the band for lyrics, which is mainly written by me, some of it's written by my bass player, but it's mainly coming from bands like a lot of like the Scrams bands, like the old like 90s bands. Orchid is like one of my favorite bands of all time, and they're from Amherst here. And I wanted to write in a way where it wasn't like trying to like not like intentionally confusing, but not like clear. It's like where I want to write in this specific style where it's like not completely clear. It's like more of like a deeper kind of like lyric way where it's like you kind of have to dive deep and kind of have to read into the lines a bit. And like I just got inspo from Orchid with that, because that's every single Orchid song. Like they just write really weird, really in-depth, really like kind of confusing lyrics, which I think is a really dope way to write, because I didn't want to be too straightforward with what I was writing for the band.
Yeah, no, I definitely dig that, because when and I hope that people are paying attention and seeking out those lyrics, because if you're writing in a different way than what people are used to and not really touching on the same topics in the typical way, I feel like it's a nice and interesting thing for people to want to pay more attention to the music and want to read and try to understand the music better.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to go about lyrics, because a lot of bands, not saying that bands are like bad at lyrics or anything, it's just I've noticed a lot of bands kind of do the same formula with lyrics, and we wanted to just completely switch it up. Yeah,
sometimes it blows my mind when I'll talk to people about their lyrics, and they're just like, oh, like we wrote that whole thing in like a short amount of time, and I just had to come up with something really fast. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like I'm over here like listening to this song on repeat, trying to find like the deeper meaning and how it can relate to my life, and coming to find out that it's really not that serious. I'm like, oh damn, okay. It's kind of a bummer, but
that shit is a bummer, because it's like, damn, this song that I have this connection with, they just wrote it in like 5 minutes in the back of the van or something. It's like, all right, sick.
Yeah, but it's funny. But I'm happy to at least uncover that kind of information. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah, so then I could just kind of let go and move on and try to find something that's actually deep and has more meaning to me. But that's the fun thing about music, right? Is people listen to it and consume it in their own way, and sometimes can interpret things different than what it actually is. But it's still really fun.
That's very true. That's a dope thing about music, so I can't complain too much.
Okay, and lyrically, off the EP, which song would you say is your favorite when it comes to the lyrics?
Ooh, that's a good ass question. Probably the last one. Probably One Day, mainly just because it was like me and my bass player writing that one, and it's just like it was probably the hardest song to write on the EP, which also like I just have like that connection to. And it was the hardest song to write, and it's a song that I love performing to. It's like one of my favorite songs to play. So probably One Day,
Okay. And as far as the band and social media, I'm assuming that there's this Instagram out there that's tied to the band, but there's like no pictures, no profile picture. There's like some followers.
Yeah, the Loved by Adrienne one.
Yeah.
We just have that just in case we wanted to do social media, if we changed our minds about it. So we like saved the for it. But all of us were like, yeah, we don't really want to do social media for the band. So we just kind of left it up and just left it blank.
But it's interesting that there's like a solid amount of followers. I see a bunch of my friends following the account. I'm like, oh, like I'm pretty sure this is for the band.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people even found it because we just made it one day and then left it. We didn't even promo it or anything, and people just ended up finding it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
And can you explain the "Loved by Adrienne"? Because obviously that's the URL for the Bandcamp. If you look at Spotify, that's like the record label that I'm sure is just like a filler, and then the Instagram.
It's an Under Oath lyric specifically, which is on the song "A Message for Adrienne" on the Changing of Times, and that song is it's just an incredible track, and everyone in the band absolutely loves that band. And that's a song that like struck a chord with a lot of us. So we just, when we got the name from the title of the song, and then the lyric also said "Loved by Adrienne," we were just like, this is like really cool, and this song is like incredible. So we were like, we're just gonna make that the thing for everything. We were just gonna make it Adrienne originally, but like that was taken, so like we had to come up with something too. So we were like, that's a cool idea to tie in, the Under Oath influence on it.
Okay, and I'm curious, how did you discover Under Oath?
I discovered Under Oath. Oh, that's a good question because I found out about them years ago. I don't even remember when, just years ago. And I heard their first 2 albums first because I was just like on like a black metal binge where I was just looking for newer bands to like check out, or not even newer, just black metal bands in general. And someone recommended Cries of the Past by Under Oath. And then I checked that out and I was like, this is insane. Like, I've never heard anything like this ever. All the songs are like 7 minutes long. And I was like, this is cool. And then I found the album before that, Act of Depression, afterwards. And I was like, this is really cool. And then I heard the Changing of Times where they completely changed sounds. And I was like, that's really insane that this band went from like a black metal band to like a post-hardcore band and still sounded good.
And I'm curious, did you stick with them to the albums after?
They're Only Chasing Safety was good, which I enjoyed a lot. I heard that one really early too, because that's like the Scene record.
Yeah.
But everything after that one, not a fan.
It gets rough. It gets rough. I was just really confused. To this day, I've never seen Under Oath, and I used to want to see them really bad. I love They're Only Chasing Safety. That I think it's track 9. I'm Content with Losing. That's like one of my favorite songs by them. But that's funny. Yeah, interesting band. They've been at it for a really long time. Like, I don't think people realize like how long they've been a band.
Yeah, they've been around forever, and they've had so many lineup changes. And now it's kind of like a completely different band now, which is really interesting.
Yeah, but maybe one day. I don't know if I'd go out of my way to see them, but if I was like at something and they were there, let me go check them out, see what the vibe's like. I
feel like if they come through, I'll probably see them if they come through.
Yeah, but I'm not like gonna go out of my way because I'm busy enough, and there's like I barely have enough time to see the bands that I want to see. So
yeah.
Okay, well that's an interesting thing, but that's cool though because I felt like they were very prominent in like our scene because like in high school, like when I was younger, I knew a ton of people who like Under Oath, but then I'm sure they're like way too cool these days to admit that they ever liked that band, which I'm not too cool. Like I said, Content with Losing, love that song, great band. Hopefully one day I can see it live, even though like the lineup is like way different than what I would have liked to have seen. And when you guys were creating the band, is that the type of style you guys always wanted to play? And did you even care about like what else was going on in your current area? Because your type of music, when I think of Boston hardcore, that's not like the first type that comes to mind. Yeah.
So when we started it, that was kind of like what everyone else wanted to do. Everyone was like, they want to be influenced by like Zayo, Under Oath, like all the spirit-filled bands. I remember when I initially joined, I wanted to do like just rip off like Japanese beatdown bands.
Okay.
Because that was like the stuff I was really into. So I was like, we should rip off like Straight Savage Style. We should rip off like Dying Race. But then I was like, and then like afterwards I was like, but the Christian stuff is really cool and no one's really doing that. Which is kind of how we saw it, was that like we wanted to do something that wasn't really common around here and that people weren't really doing around here. But the one thing we also all agreed on was that we want to play with all these bands from around here still, even if we're like vastly different in sound. Because it's like we still care about the scene and we still care about all these bands that are coming out of the scene. even though we sound like completely different, we still want to play these shows with them and still like be on that basis. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of surprised that like that you even like because it's pretty risky, right? Because like, what if you didn't have that option? Because you sound so different. What if people were like turned off or kind of afraid that you guys didn't really fit in with any of the bills going on? Because out here, I know some bands that their sound is so different that they don't even play locally. They have to go play other places, which they're successful, great band, but they don't really fit in with like the local stuff out here.
Yeah, it was definitely a risky play. I had a feeling that we would be all right on it just because we know so many people in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like Matt from Pummel is like dopest dude ever. Like he was really stoked about this stuff coming out, and like we sound completely different than Pummel, but like it was still like love there, you know. Like the scene has love for bands, even though there's like different sounds and everything. Because we have everything from like Fuming Mouth to Pummel to C4 to like us to like everything. And like just because everyone knows each other, I feel like it didn't really like scare us, or really we didn't really even think of the risk with it. We were just like, all of our friends are in this scene, all of our everything we have is in this scene. So we were just like, yeah, we'll probably be fine. Like even if we sound different, we'll probably be fine.
Yeah, and awesome that you guys took that risk. Because look at you now, the kind of following that you have. It's great. The reactions have been sick, and like I said, like a lot of people are saying a lot of great things about your band. And is it hard to be self-aware like about that kind of thing?
Yeah, a little bit, because I never really expected like the reaction that we got, especially at like the first show, because like the first show we didn't even have music out.
Oh, really?
And yeah, like the EP, that was a week before the EP came out. And I didn't think we were going to get any reaction like that at all, which was just kind of like, it was just really dope to see. And it's like, I have to like be kind of self-aware about it now to be like, you know, people like your band, people think your band is dope. Like, it's kind of hard to like think that, just because like I didn't expect like the complete like blow up from it.
And whose choice was it to play a show before the music was out? Because sometimes that's a really rough move. Because I've seen people who play in some of the biggest bands out here play a show with a new band, no music out, and yeah, it's just dead.
I don't remember. I think we all just agreed to it really, because we got offered to play. That first show was with Drain and Regulate. Okay. And at that point, we've already practiced like for a year, like every week straight. So we were just, we were tight already, and we could play the songs live. And it was just like the opportunity got presented to us where it's like, hey, do you guys want to play with Drain and Regulate for like your first show, even if you don't have music out? It was just too good of an opportunity not to like play it, because it's like Drain's a really cool band. Sammy's the nicest dude around. Regulates the shit. Like, it was just too cool of a lineup to be like, no, we're not going to play it because we don't have music out. We were just like, fuck it, we'll play it.
Yeah, no, that's a solid lineup, and that's a great story to tell. Your first show with Drain and Regulate, because if you look at Drain, they're on this crazy trajectory, right? They just wrapped up their full US with Ingrown and Painted Truth, and that band, I feel like they can't be stopped. Like the pandemic thought they could stop Drain, but I knew it was just a matter of time before, once things opened up, they're going to hit the ground running. They're great people. Shout out Sammy. Awesome band, awesome music. So I'm happy to see the success that they've had. And shout out Regulate. Regulate's an awesome band. Looking forward to new music from them.
Oh yeah, Drain's the shit, and so is Regulate. I remember when Drain played here. They played here in like 2018, I think, and they played to like 5 people. So seeing them play to all these like huge crowds here now, it's like, it's the shit. It's awesome. Yeah,
I know. I was watching Drain before they had the success that they have, which is well deserved, and to be able to see them rise up and get that recognition, I'm very happy for them. It's like I said, it's well deserved, and I'm very happy to see them. Shout out to everyone up in the Bay. I feel like they're just on this crazy wave right now. So many awesome bands from up there. But as far as the future for the band, I know there's some shows lined up. There's a show just announced today, and I didn't know that you designed that flyer, the show with Broken Vow. And
yeah, the Broken Vow one.
mhm.
That show's gonna be a dope time. That one's gonna be a really fun one. And I've just been doing flyers on and off just for fun. And Broken Vow was like, "Hey, do you want to do a flyer for the show that we're doing?" And with you guys on it, like, because we already agreed to play it. I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And it's like a cool mix spell. Like Ankle Biter is on it, and that's a really cool band from a bunch of like Connecticut and like Mass and all of that, Rhode Island. Space, Private Mind, Utmost, and Montclair. Really cool, like Connecticut bill, which is like really, really dope. Broken Bell is like really awesome. We played our 4th show with them, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I've been fortunate enough to have seen Broken Vow twice at this point. Great band.
Yeah, really, really cool band.
Yeah, I've high expectations for them. They just announced they're going to Canada. I know they got some other stuff in the works, so I'm just really happy for them. Just like Drain, great people, working hard, and everything coming their way is all well deserved.
Yeah, they definitely do deserve it. They definitely work really, really hard, really, really hard, and they're a really, really cool Connecticut band. And I think more people should check them out. They're the shit.
Yeah, and
shout out Tommy and shout out Evan.
Yeah, I was just about to say shout out Evan, my guy from Orange County. I was just hanging out with him before he went back because he was out here for a couple of days visiting. I'm assuming it's because he was on spring break, but I was able to hang out with him, and it was funny because it's weird. It's like that was my first time hanging out with Evan in California because I've seen him in other states just traveling for shows, and to finally actually hang out with him back home, it was a good time. I enjoy Evan. Yeah. Great dude. But past that show, do you guys have like stuff planned for the summer, or are you guys gonna take time to just let the EP live and just kind of take things as they come?
We definitely do have stuff planned for the summer. We have something coming out pretty soon. I'm not gonna completely say what it is yet. But we have something coming out pretty soon,
like merchandise, or
we have. I'll just say music.
Okay,
but we definitely have like music coming out soon. We definitely have merch going online soon because people keep asking me about it.
Yeah, I saw Harrison rocking an Adrienne shirt, and I wanted to buy it off of his back, but I was like, I don't know if he'd want to sell it.
We're gonna put merch online pretty soon, and we're gonna have tapes online soon, CDs hopefully pretty soon, and more.
Interesting.
And we're also planning a little something for the summer, a little something, so people might see us in their city on the East Coast at some point.
Okay,
so we're planning a little something.
And the mention of CDs is an interesting thing because obviously there's like the whole vinyl plant issues. It's going to take forever to get your new record if you decide to try to press something new. And I'm happy to hear that there's going to be CDs available because I feel like that's still a viable option. I know some bands don't want to do it; they would just prefer tapes and vinyl. But I always appreciate the fact that some bands still, go that route because it's not a completely lost format. Even though like the only CD player that I have is in my car, like I don't have one for my laptop or my computer. But still, if I have a CD, which there's a CD in my car right now, this K-pop star IU, I will put that CD to use.
Yeah, CDs are dope. CDs are like slept on now, weirdly enough. Everyone's like, I want tapes, I want vinyl. But nobody wants like CDs anymore, even though CDs like are dope. They're sick to have.
Yeah, when growing up, I was like at the tail end of tapes. I think I owned like 2 tapes that I could remember distinctively. And that was my mom bought me like the Mortal Kombat soundtrack on tape. And then she got me the Ace of Base tape. A great band. But then after that, I don't remember having any other tapes. It wasn't until I was like in the 8th grade, almost going into 9th grade, I got like Limp Bizkit on CD. I got Eminem on CD, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is actual music that I'm like gonna be listening to because I started with like mainstream stuff. But Eminem, Limp Bizkit were those are the first CDs that I ever owned. So it's cool to see that format not completely die out. Like cinema is not the most popular one, like in our genre, but it's cool to see. Like I said, like your band still, going that route.
Yeah, CDs. I will always love CDs. Like I grew up with CDs. I never really grew up with tapes. And it's funny that you say Eminem because I think one of my first CDs was that Eminem show on CD.
Okay, hell yeah,
this is pretty dope.
Legendary. But but when it comes to CDs, like the jewel cases are okay, but I really like the little like the folding, like and I don't know the proper term, but it's like
like the digipacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are dope. I just feel like people have to execute them right. What band was it? Reversal Man has one that's like crazy that my guitar player has, and it's like comes with like a booklet, comes with like art, comes with like printed out stuff like flyers, like catalogs, like really cool shit.
That's really, the way to go.
Really cool shit.
Okay, man. I always ignore the fact that I own a bunch of CDs because, for people who's watching the video on YouTube and Spotify, but right here above me, these are all like K-pop albums, and these are all CDs. And I feel like, I get it. It's like pricey, but if there was a band who could package an album, like a hardcore album, like a K-pop album, it would be insane. Like nobody's ever done it, but for someone to include like cool shit, like you're mentioning, like the one that your guitar player has, I feel like someone could make waves and take over that market.
That shit would be dope. I want to try it so bad, and hopefully we can execute it well, because
get some cool picture cards, dude.
Yeah, that shit's sick,
dude. Okay, there's this group. People can't really see it, but this pink box right here is the debut album to this group called Lightsome, and they had the coolest accessory that I've ever gotten with an album. It's just a little rubber stamp with their logo on it. And I'm like, dude, that's so fucking awesome. Like, somebody be creative and just do something cool. Just shell out the extra money. Just take a break from vinyl, because it's going to be a while, and do something like these K-pop groups.
Yeah, that shit is sick. A fucking stamp.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, just think about that. There's nobody in the scene making their own rubber stamps and
right?
Like, come on.
Like, that shit's dope. Like,
yeah,
it's like kind of a lost art. It's like people in like hardcore just want to do like the simple case. It's like, I don't know, do some cool shit. Like stamps are crazy. Like, that's insane.
Yeah,
like that's actually insane. That's sick.
Okay, we gotta. Who's on the Adrienne marketing team? We gotta get this put together.
We gotta get this pitched. We're gonna make Adrienne stamps. Yeah, so we gotta do the Adrienne stamps.
And, what kind of? Because I'm sure you guys haven't done like a whole lot, but have you done anything interesting, or has it just been the basic T-shirt, hoodie, beanie, or hat?
We've done pretty much just like the basic like merch.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do cooler merch. We want to do like really weird merch, and I'm gonna make sure that we do really weird shit like that, because it's dope. I think the only thing that we did that was like kind of out there was that when we played the first show, we did like a promo image where we printed out like a flyer where it was a promo photo of us, EP name, when it was coming out, and everything like that. That's the only way we promote the EP. We didn't promote it on social media. Mm-hmm. We didn't promote anything else. We printed a physical flyer of the release date of it and just handed it out at the show. That's all we did for it.
And did you keep one for yourself?
I think I did. I don't know where the fuck it is. I most definitely did. I don't know where the fuck it is, though. Everyone in the band kept one, so I'm sure fucking somebody has a copy, but that shit's dope.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see what it looks like, because that is cool. Just kind of keeping it local and then just letting it kind of be word of mouth from there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good strategy, because I booked a show, which I haven't talked about in a couple of weeks, but I booked a show April 25th, Last Straw, Connecticut Straight Edge, Take It to Heart, Firestarter, Major Pain, and Program, and I haven't done any promo besides posting it on my Instagram, and luckily like my friends have like reposted it, but other than that, I haven't really handed anything out. I'm just hoping that just the strength of me talking about it on this podcast and people seeing it on my grid on Instagram will come out, and I'm gonna repost it again. I'm gonna, like, as it gets closer, we're a couple of weeks away, I'll start talking about it more and be a little more annoying about it, just because I want my friends to have a good time. Mm-hmm. So if you're free, anybody's free Monday night, April 25th. I know you'll be fresh off seeing Anxious and Boston Manor, Higher Power, Trash Boat at Chain. Just make sure the next day, come check out Last Straw, Take It to Heart, Firestarter, Major Pain at Program. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be fun.
Go see that fucking gig. Last Straw is the shit. And Take It to Heart's cool too. Go see that gig if you're listening to this.
Yeah. I've seen Last Straw. I was at their second show and I had so much fun. I love that band, so I'm happy that they were down to do this. And I always had to stress that they're doing this on their off day because they're on a full US tour with Anxious, and they were willing to stay in Southern California to do this show for everyone out here. So don't take that for granted, because who knows? Last Straw might not ever come back. This is their first West Coast show in history, their third show ever. So this is a pretty big deal for us out here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been wanting to ask you for, this is me peeling back the curtain. We're currently on Discord, and when I talk to people who have Discord, I just assume they're a gamer, and I can see some RGB, in the reflection of your case, and it just has me really curious. Are you a gamer, and what are you playing right now if you are?
Most definitely a gamer. I have the RGB to prove it.
Okay.
Currently, it's been Elden Ring, just Elden Ring completely, full blown. And then I'm trying to think of what else I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of like retro stuff because I have like a whole like retro setup on this side of my room, where it's just like all this shit, which is all like PS1, PS2, and like GameCube.
Respect.
Even with like the old ass fucking box TV.
The CRT. Like, okay, you're going all
CRT.
Going all old school.
So it's just like it's been like a lot of like Final Fantasy VII and like Elden Ring and like fucking. I have Animal Crossing and GameCube too, but I got to start picking that up again.
That's amazing.
But it's mainly just been like Elden Ring and Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. So I'm also playing Elden Ring, but I've been so busy I haven't picked it up in like 2 weeks. I'm sure my Discord's gonna hear this and be really upset. But for you playing Elden Ring, what kind of build did you go with, or are you playing right now?
I went for like a battle mage build, so I'm just doing int and like strength for the most part. But I like respect recently, so now it's just straight like int and like dex mainly. Mm-hmm. So it's more magey than it is like melee, but I still do melee because I hate myself, and this game punishes you for doing melee so much sometimes.
Okay,
it's mainly just been like a magic build for the most part.
And I have a similar build, so I'm curious. You're going with dex to boost up your cast speed.
Yeah.
Okay. And what spells are you using? And this is why people are tuning out at this very moment, but who cares? Elden Ring is fucking awesome. And this is for everybody who's playing the game or who's interested. I'm curious what spells are you using, or which spells do you like to lean towards?
Right, so I've been using fucking Rock Sling 24/7 because
that's OP.
Shit with the fucking... I have like I forgot what staff it is. It's like the Glintstone staff. It's like S rank intelligence or whatever. I've been using that with Rock Sling because it's like kind of broken. That's really good. Magic Glint Blade is still pretty solid, even in like mid to late game. I've been using it. I just got Common Azor, but I can't use it yet.
Oh, it takes too much FP.
Yeah, it's like 60 intelligence. It's like crazy FP. And then like fucking... I have like Carpian Longsword, I think it is. I have that one too. And I definitely have more. I can't remember all the fucking spells I'm running currently. But that's like the main like 4.
Yeah. That's like my test is I'll be like, okay, am I just gonna cheese them out with Rock Sling because it does so much damage to certain enemies? And then if Rock Sling doesn't work, there's this skill. I'm not sure you have it. It's called Adula's Moonblade. Yeah,
I need to get that shit.
Yeah, that one.
I don't have it yet, but
that one will clears mobs pretty easy. That's like one of my go-tos. But yeah, and I'm curious, what level are you?
78.
Okay, 78.
Yeah,
getting through there. You know what I like about that game, and this is like, I've played every Souls type game, but I've never beaten them because I just never sat down and wanted to get good at it. I would just let the frustration take over and just kind of rage, uninstall, and just move on. But with Elden Ring, very user friendly, and I was like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna buckle down and try to get good at this one, and then I'll double back and beat all the games that I already own. And I'm definitely having a lot of fun with it. But like I was saying, one of the things that I like with these types of games is that they're so free, and you're actually able to kind of create your own adventure. There's no linear path that you have to follow. It's just like, all right, here you're in the world, go figure it out. And and sometimes that way is like way more fun because I'm like talking, because obviously it's like it's like pop culture at this point, right? Which is awesome because so many people are playing it, and I can talk to anybody about it, and just hearing so many different stories about like which route they decided to take, and then being able to like bond and being killed by the stupid crabs. Dude, those giant crabs, because they're kind of unassuming. Oh, these things are just giant, dumb, and stupid and slow. But then they'll creep up on you and deal some. And being a mage, we don't have crazy armor, so we can't take too many hits. So getting wrecked by these stupid crabs, it's always a fun time to hear people's horror stories.
Yeah, the crabs and the fucking giant hands.
I remember when I rolled up and I saw the hands. I was like, okay, these things look just stupid. They're not going to be anything. But then they just mauled me. I was like, Jesus. Okay. I was like, maybe I need to go gain a couple levels before I come back, and instead of just trying to rush in and just rock sling them to death, because they'll just come at you and just jump you, and it can be pretty frustrating, but it's still pretty fun. There's been times where I will tell myself, okay, I should go run and pick up my runes before I die again, and just randomly getting like one-shotted and losing like over like 200,000 runes. You're like, geez, there's nothing I can do, because you can't just quit out and reload your save. It's like no, it tracked it. It's gone forever, and I got to go grind again and try to get more runes.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm curious about your fascination with Final Fantasy VII, because that's obviously a classic. Not my favorite Final Fantasy, but I definitely respect it. I'm just curious why you're playing that one over the other ones right now.
It's just like, I've only really ever dived into Final Fantasy because I used to play Kingdom Hearts a lot.
Oh, great. I
was like, oh, this is cool. There's like Final Fantasy characters. And then I only ever really played a little bit of Final Fantasy X, and then like Final Fantasy 13. So I was like, 7's like the one everybody talks about. So I'm like gonna try it out. I like bought it in like this PS1 bundle that was really cheap, and I was like, I'm just gonna fucking play it, because I've never played it, even though I've seen like Cloud and Sephiroth like everywhere. And
they're in Smash
I'm so glad I picked it up. It's such an like amazing RPG, and I'm still on the first disc. That game is fucking long.
Wait, and have you played it before, or is this your first time?
This is my first time playing it.
Oh man, the story. Okay, it's gonna there's gonna be some rough moments story wise, like not in a bad way, but just like emotionally. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So far, who's your favorite character? Because there's a pretty big cast.
Yeah, I'd say Tifa's definitely up there for me. Tifa's the shit.
Oh, I wonder why.
Tifa's dope. Barrett, I think his name is, right? Guy with the gun arm?
Yes.
Yeah, Barrett's the shit. That's my guy. Like, he's just like, I don't know what it is with Barrett. He's just dope. He's like, that's my guy. Like, Barrett's the shit. It's just like Barrett and Tifa. That's like the main two that I'm just like, yeah, they're the shit.
Okay. I was really into I'm kind of foggy. I don't think you've run into him yet, or maybe you have. Vincent. He's like dressed in red.
Yeah, I haven't gotten him yet, but I know of him.
Okay, yeah, he's like probably like my favorite, and then I really like there's another character. It's Kate Sith. It's like a little cat dude.
Yeah,
and
Kate Sith's the shit. I just got Kate not too long ago. Like, pretty dope.
Yeah, but great. Yeah, you're on the first disc. You got 3 more to go. It's gonna be yeah. It's funny. It's like I used to play because my cousin, when I was younger, he had a PlayStation. I had a 64, so I would have to wait until he beat like the disc before I could play. So I was always like one disc behind him, and that was how I got through Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, I'm stoked for you because the story's cool. Long game, but it's definitely worth it because for it to have like the kind of impact that it has on like that kind of culture. For so long, and for it to even have gotten like a remake on PS5, it's definitely something that I think everyone who is even remotely into RPG should definitely check it out, because even for the time, like those like CG cutscenes were like so amazing way back when PlayStation was like out for the first time. It was like, holy crap, these graphics are way better than Sega Saturn. Fuck Sega Saturn. Fuck 64. It's all about PlayStation.
Dude, my guitar player collects for Saturn, so he's heartbroken right now.
That's so crazy. I don't know anybody who even cares about the Sega Saturn. I'm so curious. That's awesome.
He's like the one guy who does, because he's like a huge like Sega Sonic fan, and he just like has a Saturn and like a Model 1 Genesis.
Damn, is he bugging all y'all to go to see Sonic 2 in theaters?
Dude, I'm bugging him. I'm so stoked for that movie.
That's
that shit's
awesome.
gonna be unreal.
I still have to watch the first one if I'm being honest. You know, I had a Sega Genesis, and like my mom had gotten me Sonic 3, and then got like the little Knuckles adapter, and I enjoy Sonic. Sonic's cool.
First movie is incredible, and I think one of the first ones I ever played was Sonic Advance on the GBA, which I own.
Hell yeah.
And so sick. Such a good series. Even though Sega kind of fumbled the bag a little bit, I think they're getting their footing back.
Yeah, you know, I was always kind of curious, like, because I felt like they kind of fell back and just became like a software developer instead of dealing with the hardware. Like, I was a huge fan of I don't know if you remember their the Sega Game Gear, like their handheld system back in the day. I used to play Shining Force, like, you know, some like, you know, tactics RPG on that back in the day, Ninja Gaiden. I was a fan of their stuff. And then you jump forward to Sega Dreamcast. That shit was advanced. Like, I think that's why they shot themselves in the foot, right? They're like, all right, like, we're just gonna have this badass system, but it was just ahead of its time. People were like, what the hell? Like, you can go online with it, play Phantasy Star online, and then even like graphics, playing Crazy Taxi, Soul Calibur. God, your guitar player should be collecting Dreamcast, not Sega Saturn.
He also collects Dreamcast.
Okay,
He has like fucking like, he's like the most cracked person at fucking Soul Calibur, because he has Soul Cal 1.
Okay.
Insane at that game. He has like Ill Bleed, like in like fucking. He has the Berserk game too for Dreamcast, which is like unreal.
That's crazy.
He's like a big Sega guy. Like, he has a bunch of Dreamcast shit, a bunch of like.
Okay, now I respect your guitar player. I used to think he was weird for collecting Sega Saturn, but knowing that there's the Dreamcast love too. Okay, mad respect. Because yeah, think about it. Yeah, that system. Like, I never owned one. I was I begged my mom for because like I had a PlayStation. I eventually got my own PlayStation and then got rid of my 64. But I wasn't like, my family wasn't rich growing up, so I had to like beg, and my mom like pre-ordered my PS2 like 2 years before its software, etc., before GameStop was around. And I couldn't ask for a Dreamcast because there's no way that was happening, because I had just got the PS2, which I was happy with. I love that PS2.
Yeah, Dreamcast it just came out the wrong time. And then PS2 is incredible. The one that I have currently is my childhood one that I got.
And it still works?
I don't even remember. Yeah, surprisingly, because like I just kept it in storage for so long because I stopped playing it after a certain point. And then I brought it back out, opened it, and just dusted it, and then it fucking works perfectly.
Yeah, you know, I'd got lucky. So my original PS2, the laser just kind of gave out. Like, it would just would not read anything. And I had this buddy. I'm still friends with him to this day. Shout out to my buddy Jarvis. He was just balling out of control, and he was like, "Hey, I know you really want a PS2. I have one. Just take it." And we were like in like, I think probably just started high school, and because like he was getting into like fashion and more girls. I was still like a little nerdy back then, and I was like, all right, if you're trying to give me a free PS2, I will take it. And yeah, he never asked for it back. I saw him last year, surprisingly, at the GameStop back home where I used to live, and he to this day he's never asked for me or asked for his PS2 back. I don't have it anymore, but thank you, Jarvis, for letting me have your PS2.
So sick.
Yeah, it was weird, but he didn't want it, and he just offered it to me. Very kind person. So I definitely appreciate that.
Oh yeah, that's so fucking sick.
Yeah, I will never stop playing video games. They're so fun, and my new thing is I like 100% of the games that I own now are on Steam. I'm like 100% digital, like nothing physical, and I just love buying games on sale. I have if people knew the amount of games that I have on my computer that I've never even played, just bought them because they were on sale, and I was like, okay, one day I'll get to it. But I don't even know if there's going to be that day, because there's just mountains of good shit coming out that I'm actually putting my time into. So like the off chance that I actually dive back, it's going to be really rare.
I feel that hard. That's me with fucking Dead Space and like just a bunch of other shit I've gotten on Steam sales. They're too good.
Yeah, Dead Space is awesome. You know, I was just talking to my buddy Nate about Dead Space. That was the first game that I actually paid for DLC and felt super stoked on, because like Dead Space came out and you're able to buy like this new costume set and like a different gun, which like didn't really improve your stats or skills. It was just like all like aesthetics, but just to be able to walk around with this different suit, it was fucking cool. And I love Dead Space. Like the original's cool, second one's cool, third one's okay, and I'm curious about what the remake is going to be. So should be good. And I'm happy that you mentioned Dead Space, because I'm not sure if people actually realize how awesome that series is. If you're not familiar, you like horror games, you like, you know, Resident Evil style stuff, go play Dead Space.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And I'm happy that you're a gamer too, because if you're just gonna talk to me about some random like RGB stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. But last thing on video games, I've been really into TikTok. Go follow my TikTok. We're posting podcast stuff. There's gonna be clips from this episode on the TikTok. But watching TikTok, it's been makes me want to play Valorant again, which I haven't played in ages because I sucked. The community's kind of toxic, but watching people on TikTok made me want to play. So I updated my Valorant, and I will be playing soon. But you gave it thumbs down. I'm curious.
Not a fan.
No, for sure.
I don't know. Valorant, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I played Overwatch for so long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like Overwatch, like, kind of tainted my view because that game just got so insanely bad over the years that I was like, okay, Valorant, like, just hands off. But then again, I played Dead by Daylight, which is like the most toxic game like ever currently.
Jeez. So. Hey, will you be back for Overwatch 2?
I don't know. It depends. It depends how Blizzard decides to fucking go about with that game. Probably not, though. Probably
not. Okay. I never got into Overwatch just because I was like just playing other things at the same time. But, you know, I was aware of it. Like I played the beta. It was chill. I really like Tracer. That was my Tracer. And then Farah. Was that the girl with the rocket launcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two.
It's a Farah and Junkrat main. So
okay,
shout out Farah.
Yeah, and you know, okay, and this is going back to the beta. I would play Farah like I was playing like Unreal Tournament, so I would just just run around, just be preemptive firing that rocket and just trying to kill people. But interesting. Overwatch. Okay. Well, damn, Alfredo, this has been awesome.
Oh yeah, this shit's sick. I always love talking about fucking games. I never get to talk about them enough.
And before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say or shout out?
Shout out Massachusetts. Shout out fucking hardcore, because currently it's in a crazy state. We have really good fucking bands coming out. Fucking shout out to Since My Beloved from Texas, Despise from Scotland, Shortest Life from here, C4 from here. Fucking just incredible bands. And yeah. That's pretty much it. Go vegetarian, go vegan.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll be back soon. Goodbye.